Greetings everybody, this is Super Team 451 and welcome back to another episode of Weeb Warriors. I am going solo this week, but I have some grand spanking new reviews for you. And instead of our usual soapbox discussion, I'll be talking about my experience at KomoriCon for this year of 2019. So, let's actually get to those reviews, shall we? Since I didn't do an episode review last week or so I will actually be reviewing episodes 6 and 7 of the shows this week. On top of that, I'm going to give you guys a bit of an update. I kind of came to the realization that even though Fire Force has been a fun show, I'm just going to be watching it on my own personal accord. So the reviews for Fire Force are going to be put to a halt. Who knows, I might actually do a series review of the show when it's all wrapped up and over as its own separate thing. Anywho, let's actually get to those reviews, shall we? Let's talk about Vinland Saga, episode 17 and 18. Servant... Well, actually no. Let's just talk about episode 18. Out of the Cradle. Basically, this episode, to put it shortly, is about Kute coming to his own as a prince. Him talking to the priest, whom I will just call Will. They basically have this discussion with each other about how death is the ultimate symbolism, is the ultimate meaning of love in the eyes of Will, the priest. And how everything that man has experienced, especially those in what's currently going on, they don't know the meaning of love. Love is nature, love is the animals feasting on your corpses and all that stuff. Juxtaposed to that is the duel between Thorkill and Thorfinn. Now, while these two duel, Thorkill tries to have a more entertaining fight to really see how strong Thor's kid is, since he knew of him in the past. But Thorfinn never really heard of Thorkill from his father. But the one thing I could say about this show is beautifully animated. Witsvio did an amazing job with this fight scene in particular between Thorfinn and Thorkill. It is so great. And at the tail end of the episode, where Kute really comes to his own, breaking Bjorn out of his berserker rage, saying goodbye to Ragnar at his weakest moment. Then but after his discussion with Will the priest, it all changed and made him into a much harder person. And by the end of the episode, we don't know if Thorfinn is even alive after one disorientating move that sent him flying into the air and landing in trees. Normally, that would kill any person, but we'll have to find out and see next time. So, let's actually get to the other reviews. So, what should I start out with? You know what? Let's actually start out with Oreski, episode 6 and 7. Episode 6 deals with the tail end of the Flower Dance arc, as I will call it. And essentially, the girl that was initially trying to... the newspaper girl, Asano, had her master plan pretty much foiled by Cosmos, where it was revealed that she intentionally leaked her newspaper, which she said she wasn't going to. All to get closer to Joro and having a relationship with him. And everything was all coming to plan, but Cosmo says, I knew your game, bitch. I'm going to put an end to that. And it just ended in a very pleasant way. And then episode 7, our principal cast of characters, that being Joro, Pansy, Himari, Cosmos, and Sunshine, go to the pool and have fun. The girls try to vie for Joro's affections by trying to get him to do fun pool park stuff with them and to see who wins at the end. We also get to see the gal girl basically say, you know what, I want to apologize to you, but in that typical, it's my friend wants to apologize to this guy and that sort of thing. But Joro's like, hey, I kind of know what you're talking about here, girl. Really, be honest with yourself. But the funniest part of this episode was basically Joro saying, Sunshine is the only one who I had fun with. He got me out of sticky situations with 2 of y'all. So I'm gonna hang out with my best friend. Oh, and another thing about this episode, we got to see the gal girl just looking nice and regular and acting like a typical Soon, which I like. Then at the other part of, like, the tail end of this episode, we're introduced to a new character who to keep myself from saying basically, she decides, you know what? Remember me, Joro? Oh, you don't? Well, that's kind of mean. But as a lady, kneeling down, kissing his hand like he's fucking royalty, says, well, you're gonna have to take care of me anyway. And another character we were introduced to at the start of the episode was Joro's mom, who, top tier waifu material, I gotta say. That is a hail to the yeah from me. Just a sweetheart. Just a sweetheart. But now, let's actually get to Dr. Stone, episode 19 and 20, to Modernity and the Age of Energy, I believe is the title of the episode. Anyway, we start episode 19 off with the ending fight between Hyuga and the others. But Homura, a new character who's connected to Tsukasa's empire, sets fire to parts of the village, and who represents part of Tsukasa's intelligence division. And so, which, with all of that, leading to everyone essentially on a race to see who can one up the other side. The Tsukasa Empire wants to invade Ishigami Village when winter is done and spring comes, with a preemptive strike. And Senku and the crew are on the verge of actually making phones, specifically smartphone technology. And I think that is brilliant. Next up in episode 20, we have the roadmap to make phones for contacting Taiju and Yuzuriha. On top of that, we had them basically build a machine that will allow them to make cotton candy, which will allow them to make gold wires. And all the scenes with everyone reacting to the taste of cotton candy was hysterical. So great. So enjoyable. And Buffaldu and Chrome building a hydroelectric power generator. Well, a basic water wheel, which Senku then upgrade it into a hydroelectric power plant generator, which I think is just genius, which will lead to them hopefully making smartphones. And Syndica was even surprised by the ingenuity that Crom and the old dude really put into making the water wheel. He was very impressed. Well, that's enough of Dr. Stone. Let's actually talk about My Hero. Well, essentially with both episodes of My Hero, we have Deku, well, we have Midoriya and Mirio running into Eri, and Sir Night-Eye basically saying, nope, we can't interfere with their plans, we have to do a team-up to actually bring them down. And the end of that episode, we have what's his name? Anyway, we have the head of the League of Villains going up against, well, having a meeting with Chiaki, or Overhaul, to see if they can really team up, which then leads into the next episode, where we primarily focus on the other characters' heroship interns. The other characters' internships, which will... But the main focus is Kirishima, Tamaki, and Fat Gum taking down a bunch of thugs. But we do get to see Uraraka and Tsuyu teaming up with Nijire. And her big hero, Yuyo, I think is her name? I don't remember. She has a very dragon aesthetic to her, which I really like. But Kirishima, in flashbacks, really unsure of what a quirk like his can do, because he doesn't have the ability to do long to mid-range attacks like the others can. So he essentially did what he basically does is just push his quirk to its absolute limits, and when the last of the thugs uses a quirk booster that pushes his quirk to its absolute limits, Kirishima unleashed a lot of moves that makes him actually harder than he's ever been. You could take that any way you want, but it allows him to be impervious to damage for about 40 to 30 seconds. And then he cuts in the distance, knocks the guy out, he cries, complains a bit, but Fat Gum takes care of him, which leads to Chiaki and why am I blanking on his name? Well, the head of the League of Villains. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. But anywho, Chiaki loosely explains how everything works. But that's essentially My Hero. Still great, still solid. And we never learn. Season 2. Still great. The first episode I'm going to talk about is centered around Mifuyu. And her... Yeah, the episode mostly focuses on Mifuyu. Her hot water doesn't work, so she ends up going to a local bath, where she runs into Naruyuki and a few others, including Naruyuki's youngest siblings, and they really amp up the fact that well, they really took an attachment, they really got attached to Mifuyu. And they say, when are you gonna marry our big brother and all that stuff? So funny, so adorable. And then Mifuyu gave mock interviews for Fumino and Rizu, which didn't really turn out well for them, and Naruyuki got one, which really pushed him to really think about what his goals all mean. But she initially didn't want to be harsh on them because she has noticed how hard Naruyuki and the others have worked just to improve themselves. It's just these questions are very harsh. And then the next episode's all focused on Rizu. The first half is Naruyuki, Rizu, and Sekijo going to an open campus, and Naruyuki and Sekijo are really trying to make it easier for the other to get closer to Rizu Force. In Naruyuki's head, Sekijo wants to be a better best friend to Rizu, and in Sekijo's mind, Naruyuki wants to be a better love interest for Rizu. But after a few seminars and Rizu being left to her own devices with a bunch of college kids, she ends up getting drunk off the fumes of their alcohol and basically told them, hey, you guys are both being mean. I want to hang out with both of you. You're so rude. And then the second half of the episode is Rizu and Naruyuki. After the events of the open campus, everything seemed kind of normal, but she was still kind of miffed at him. So when they ran into a few of the maids where basically Asumi works, one of the maids explains that, hey, we're doing this board game event for the cafe, all this sort of stuff, which Rizu got excited, and she ended up wearing a maid outfit, wanted to participate, because she saw all the games and it would be a lot of fun. But when everything started, she pretty much failed on her own attempts and almost put the maid cafe in the hole. And with a clever plan of Asumi and Naruyuki, she was able to gain her confidence back for actually playing the game and winning. And it made her so happy to win for the first time, only to have that snatched away when Naruyuki and Asumi basically explained, like, yeah, this is one way we kind of helped her boost her confidence, but ultimately, she still felt defeated. But they made up at the end. So very great and enjoyable. And finally, welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, episodes 6 and 7. Episode 6 is mostly about Iruma going through a minor crisis of not trying to have his identity shown and what have you. But his grandfather, his demon grandpa, wants to just fawn over him, make him the center of attention. And they were able to go through regular classes. And he's just been feeling down about the whole affair. And in their botany class, they have this task where they have to they have to grow a flower that's representative of their magic, or what they envision in their minds. And jokingly thinking about cherry blossom. Thinking about cherry blossom trees, he wanted to think of something light and fluffy. And he says the incantation Quan Quan. Not really thinking about it. And getting a call from Sullivan saying, "Oh yeah, remember that ring that you have on there? Oh yeah, since I had it store a lot of my magic, you can use magic now. Since I haven't had the time to calibrate it, you probably shouldn't use it." While he coincidentally used that magical ability and made the biggest cherry blossom tree on the face of the earth, which became very popular amongst the students. Then, the last part of the episode focuses on the student council president named Emery. And she's one tough demoness. Very tough, very powerful. Just kicking fools left and right. But she has a little secret. She's trying to figure out what's going on with these Forbidden Tones, which is just regular ass shoujo manga. It's hysterical. She can't read what's being said on the page, but she's just getting enamored by this book. And she's also trying to figure out if Irma's a human or not. In which she's right. But while they were running to opposite halls, while Irma was helping clean up his own mess, which, nice guy, by the way, he ends up bumping into her, like a similar scene in First Love Memories, the name of the manga she was reading, which sends her in a tizzy, and which also leads into the next episode, episode 7, where she indoctrinates him to read the manga so she can understand it. But in actual, that's what she initially wants, and that's what's going on. But she's saying it under the guise of, like, hey, if you can understand what that's saying, then you must be human. And I gotta figure out if you're a danger to other demons or not. But she ends up, and you can tell the way it's just drawn, she is enamored with this book, and she takes, like the other demons in this kooky show, they take human concepts like friends and dates and take them into different paths, because they basically take it on Irma's word, or they over-dramatize it too much. It's still played up for laughs and coming to gold. And these two, Amari and Imra, get tailed by Osmodeus and Clara. And they're trying to figure out why he's with the student council. Oz thinks that, oh, he's going to take down the student council. He's that much of a badass. He's going to be too hard for them. And Clara's like, hey, I want to know what's going on. I want to play. All that stuff. Very hilarious. Very funny. But, you know what, folks? With all the reviews said and done, I want to talk about my con experience this year at KomoriCon. Since it changed from last year's time period, I had a very fun experience. Trips to Portland and having no funds withstanding. I have a lot of great memories, like a lot of stuff. I had my Blu-ray of Cat Planet Cuties signed by Tia Ballard and Brittany Kravosky. I had my cartridge of Three Houses signed by Karen Strausman. I got a picture with Tia Ballard, which I'll be posting on my Instagram, which is just Serpentine451. I'll also be posting pictures of my con experience, and also I'll be posting a lot of the merch that I got from the con too. It's just so great. I love going to cons like this, and plus, I can't go wrong with what I got at the con too. And I also ran into my cousin, made some new friends, helped out a new friend with some stuff he's one side. It was just another great experience. Even though I went by myself this year, I had such a good time. I had such a fun experience. And I told Tia and Brittany about my experience, about my YouTube channel here. And if they somehow stumble upon this, thanks again, Tia. Thanks again, Brittany, for giving this guy a very fun experience signing autographs. I really appreciate it, and I had fun at the panels that I went to. I'd like to thank the Fire Emblem cosplayers for their panel. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to join you guys as Ephraim. It's going to be fantastic. And I had a fun experience learning the ins and outs of voiceover auditions, and I was critiqued by a ADR director. I only remember his name, Joel. His name was Joel. And it was such a great experience having my vocal talent pretty much be critiqued, and he basically said I was well on my way to getting some recognition, which made me very happy. And I appreciated that. And plus, the first night of the con, they had a Komori prom sort of deal, which involved a lot of dancing, a lot of fun. It was enjoyable. So, I'll be posting some of my pictures. I'll be posting what I got at the con. Just make sure to check out my Instagram. It's Serpity451 when you just search it in Instagram. I haven't used my Twitter in a very long time, so I forgot how to deal with that nonsense. So, that is enough there. And that's been another episode of Weeb Warriors, guys. I had a lot of fun. It was nothing but a great experience at KomoriCon this year. And the reviews, even though it was like a week late for... So, well, it's still... We missed out on a week of reviews, but it was okay. I came back from my con adventure feeling refreshed, energized, and just ready to do things again. And I will catch you guys next time, and make sure you check out my fun pictures on Instagram, which I will post in the description below.